Hi, it's Oval1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on Xbox One. And today I'm going to talk about something that's happened, some current events. Now normally I am not up with the current events. It can honestly be said about me, well, this.
Here's the pulse, alright? And this is your finger. Far from the pulse, jammed straight up your ass.
My disconnect with things is normally because I'm not that active on the forums or Reddit or on Discord. I tend to hear things verbally or get in-game messages over Xbox Live. Not the normal way of keeping track of things, not usually good for current events. However, in this case I was really lucky because the discoverer of this new mining spot is actually an Xbox player who's a subscriber of mine that I've shared wing missions with in the past. So he was kind enough to message me ages ago and say, something big's coming, keep an eye out, and like drop hints to me. And eventually when it did drop, unfortunately it dropped in the middle of my two 12-hour night shifts, and that meant I'm delayed to today to make a video about it. But you know, I'm still reasonably quick to the table with this one. So if you haven't seen it, I'll link to the Down to Earth astronomy video because he did beat me to the punch on this. There is a new quad hotspot available. It's one, if you've got a fleet carrier or a friend with a fleet carrier, it's probably worth doing. But if you haven't got a fleet carrier, it's not worth doing. Now, I will go into a little detail on what happened and how it was found, and then I want to talk about another issue that's plaguing the game at the moment, and one of the reasons why you should be looking to do legitimate mining at this new hotspot. So I want to say congratulations to ThatEnglishGent and Xbox Commander for making this discovery. Now, he said to me in messages that a few weeks ago himself and a few of his fellow commanders decided they want to get a more isolated mining spot outside the bubble where they could mine away from NPC pirates, player pirates such as myself, and not just get swamped by fleet carriers everywhere. The goal was to find a good triple LTD spot and keep it for themselves. They did not expect to stumble across hotspots with a super strong 3-time spot and the first ever quad spot discovered in the game. When the discovery was made, they quickly agreed to go underground and to stay away from their fellow commanders and, you know, keep the operation on the down low. They called in a fleet carrier. They managed to do a lot of mining amongst themselves. Now, they were very organized. They even had Google documents tracking how much mining each person was doing, how much they were contributing, to work out their shares and how much they were going to make out of this operation. So after a period of mining it themselves, they then decided to organize with the rest of their squadron the New Pilots Initiative to set up a ferry service so that their other squad mates could benefit from the discovery, as well as release the location to the greater community for everyone to enjoy. And at that point he released it to myself, sent me the screenshots and actually a copy of the spreadsheet where it keeps track of how much they all made out of this little operation, which is very interesting. They did make a lot of money before they released this location to everyone else. Now, they had helped to hold into it for a few more days, but unfortunately they had to release it early, and that early release unfortunately clashed with my work schedule. So timing wise, yeah, I could have got an exclusive on this, but I didn't quite get there in time. But hey ho, at least my finger is pretty much on the pulse of what's going on in game, which is really, really good, because normally, like I say, my finger is far from the pulse. But the other issue I want to talk about today, which is not that good a subject, and one I might get criticised for my opinion on. So, my opinion of the current subsurface missile mining using a fighter is that it's an exploit. It looks like an exploit, it smells like an exploit, this is probably an exploit. Using a fighter as re-instincting tool, I think, pushes it into the boundaries where it's an exploit, not just re-instancing. Now, re-instancing has always been something in the game, and how you use re-instancing, I think there's sometimes that borders on being an exploit in itself, and I have done videos about this. It's something that I have touched upon in other videos. Sometimes I'm not comfortable with the use of re-instancing. Other times I see it as like a normal game mechanic. For example, if you're in a res site and spawns stop and you don't get any enemies to shoot for a while, re-instance to refresh those spawns. But I'm very, very cautious of how I use re-instancing, because I expose cheats in the game. I expose cheats on games in general. And when you do that, you need to be able to say,
I have the high ground!
For example, it would be very rich of me, and I wouldn't have the high ground, if I turned around to a combat logger and said, you know, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be paying for your rebuy, and it's only you losing a bit of time in game if I make all my money from an exploit. As far as I'm concerned, exploiting is cheating and is as bad as combat logging, which is also cheating. So I have to be irreproachable if I'm going to report cheats. If I'm going to say, no, you shouldn't be doing that, I myself shouldn't be doing that. It's that simple. So to take the high ground when it comes to arguments about what is and isn't correct in game, I'm incredibly cautious of anything that comes up in the game that looks like an exploit or smells like an exploit. You know, the same with slip mining, the same with certain missions that have been in the past, the same as buying and selling from the same station. If something seems too cheesy, I just avoid it like the plague. And I mean, if you're going to do these sort of things, do expect FDev to take action. They have in the past. They have taken people's money back off them. I mean, I was aware of the engineering exploit way back in the day, and a lot of people exploited it and then got their engineering taken away from them. And you know, other people like myself were aware of it but didn't use it, and lo and behold, I didn't have to pay any penalty. I didn't use it, I didn't abuse it. I could have done, and I don't regret not doing it. It was always, to me, if it looks like an exploit, if it smells like an exploit, it's an exploit, and just don't do it. That way nothing's going to get taken off you. And in this current climate, when you can make 350 million credits an hour paynite mining, you can make 200 million credits an hour just hauling tritium, and that's without fleet carriers involved. If you add fleet carriers in, you can make ridiculous money. I don't see the need for using something that looks like and smells like an exploit. Now, FDev may come out in the future and say it's not an exploit, and fine, if they rule it's not, then it's okay. But at this stage, I would say it's too dodgy to bother with. And considering that there's a quad hotspot and a very strong triple hotspot just outside the bubble, there's no excuse for it. You can go from a Sidewinder to an Anaconda in a week being quite casual. You can go from an Anaconda to a fleet carrier the second week by being fairly casual. I, to be honest, have had a lot of issue lately, as someone saw in the Salt video that I released recently, with pilots who claim to be newbies but are flying around in Anacondas and Pythons, etc. It's kind of very difficult to judge what a newbie is when you're faced with, you know, fairly low ranked but Anacondas. It's clear you're not that newbie if you're in an Anaconda. You were always considered a viable target, and suddenly now they're screaming, going, "Oh no, I'm so new!" It's like, well, you know, learn the game, take your time. Just don't focus on just money grind, money grind, money grind. There should be more to this game than it's just a money grind. I do mining because I enjoy doing mining. In the background of this video, you've been watching me mine tritium. That makes the min-maxers mad, because I should just be mining X, Y, or Z and making the max amount of money and then buying my tritium. It's way more efficient. I mean, I'm currently mining for like things like osmium and stuff like that, which I can store on my carrier and use to complete wing missions off with. I'm storing osmium because it's used as an engineer unlock. I'm storing bromulite because it's used for engineer unlocks. And I'm running my fleet carrier as something to help people. So I'm storing a lot of mining stuff on there. But as I said, in this current climate, with things the way they are, I don't think using an exploit is needed, and I don't think it's a sensible thing to be doing. You should just be trying to make as much money as possible legitimately, because, you know, if this does get ruled an exploit and people end up getting money taken back off them, they're going to be pissed. This is why I don't make videos about these sort of things. I don't highlight exploits, because if you highlight an exploit and then people watch it and then they get the money taken off them, they're going to come back to you and complain. I tend to stay out of these things as much as possible. I don't want to get involved because I have that very harsh opinion, and a lot of people in the community disagree with me. and I am always willing to wait till FDev make a ruling on these things, whether it is or isn't an exploit. But I don't see the point in using something that smells like an exploit when there are legitimate money-making methods that can make hundreds and hundreds of millions of credits an hour without any question. And I would rather my gameplay be completely clean, so I can take the moral high ground when I get into that argument with that combat logger, and I know my credit balance is my credit balance, and I have not cheesed, exploited, or done anything dodgy in this game. But I leave it open to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you've tried the new Hotspot. I have not yet been out there. I'm thinking of making an expedition out there next time I'm off, because I've got stuff I'm doing at the moment, which I might go into in videos later on this week. But at the moment, I haven't gone out there, so let me know if you've gone out there. Let me know if you think it's worth it, and what you think of the new Hotspot. And also give love to ThatEnglishGent for an amazing discovery, and it's really good an Xbox player has discovered that. I like it when Xbox beats PC to fines. It makes me smile, because we are the looked down upon platform at times, so it's nice when we give back to the community. And I bet there's a lot of PC players making a lot of money out of something that Xbox players discovered, so that puts a smile on my face. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me know what you think of this subsurface mining thing, and whether you think it's an exploit or not. And if you disagree with me, let me know why, and let's have a nice friendly conversation in the comments about it. There's a lot of nuance to that subject, and you know, my opinion is at one end, the harsh end, and I understand a lot of people are at the other end of the argument. I've had some interesting debates with people about it recently, and I've even asked my own player faction, because we have a no exploit rule in my player faction, that we need to define that as to what we mean by that. But anyway, that's all. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I've been rambling on for way too long, so I'm going to leave it there and say that's all. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.